time perspective where the current situation fits with the past and what we went through with both genetic engineering and now into stem cell research. And was better since I'm not working in stem cells. I'm still working in genetic engineering and vaccines. I will try to stress where the lessons were learned in such a quick interview. And then I will quickly deal with a little bit of the work that Irvin Chen has done, is doing in the one slide in Southern California on HIV. He's unable to be here because of a large staff meeting that we had. So I'm going to start looking at and really zero in on the San Francisco Bay Area for obvious reasons, looking at the genetic engineering issues that started in the 70s, really in the mid-70s, and the politics that surrounded that, since this remake is certainly not free of that, and how that changed over time rapidly. But the initial fear in 1970s in the mid-70s, and this is a Time magazine cover, if you can imagine, with genetic engineering with the cobra head and the harm that it would cause. And this filtered in a lot of areas, especially outside the United States. And for the Europeans in the room, seeing what's happened with the fear of everything GEN associated has caused great consternation there and held up. But a few courageous people moved on. And this, for those of you who have not been to Genentech, there's a founders area there, and there's a plaza, and there's this brass table with Herb Boyer from UC and Bob Swanson, at that time an entrepreneur, thinking about this new idea. And Herb is in this great 60s vest and long hair. It's classic, and Bob's in this kind of stiff suit. But in '75, they got together at a cafe here in this town and discussed the idea. And despite all the chaos that that caused at UC, carried on. And by '76, actually founded Genentech, had an initial investment of $100,000 that by 2008 has developed a company of 12 marketed products with 10,000 employees and a market cap of $86 billion. And that, I think, is the least of the accomplishments. If you think about what's happened, if you look at biotech on a spot map in the United States, it is not randomly distributed at all around the United States, or indeed outside the United States, but tends to cluster in kind of a communicable disease fashion. And if you look at the San Francisco Bay Area with 900 biotech companies and 90,000 employees, and it's 30% of the US biotech industry is here, really because of a few people that had the courage to move ahead. And what's really fascinating to me, and if you look at what biotech did, it started with this kind of human health idea, and there was this agricultural side piece of it, but it went directly into animal health, into crops, and environmental rehab, as some of these recombinant bugs that are out there doing bad things, and indeed industrial production of large-scale industry using enzymes produced by recombinant bugs. A remarkable step that the fear of this thing has really now become, at least in this part of the world, an established benefit of the society. But I think important when you now look at the next evolution, that even though it's 30 years in the making, it's remarkable how slow it takes to actually get products out. And for those of us who work in the health, especially in the I say regulated, but in a good way, that you have to go through these processes in order not to cause harm when you're trying to cause good, that it does take time. The discovery is slow, the movement from the animal model into the human situation, then to the product, and then once you get into a product, the actual product development, the manufacturing, et cetera, is a very slow process. And if you look at, of all of those massive numbers of dollars in the actual products that come out, that, look at that.
That's right.
That's very cute. Well, now it's not. That the half the products are in the last 5 years. Can I do that?
Yeah. Be sorry.
That was curious. But if you think about 76 being genetic engineering, and then 05 we have stem cells, where does it go from here? And the evolution that it will take will clearly be a long one. Now let me just do the last 2 slides, thinking about where we've come in genetic engineering, both positive and negative. Our work, we're working on lots of things now, but in the past, we spent an awful lot of time, both at Genentech and Infectious, working on HIV vaccines with the first 2 large trials that actually moved things forward at about $150 million by the time we got to that. And had no efficacy in Thailand, and then this strange result that we had with appeared to protect non-whites, probably for genetic reasons, and that research is going on now. And then the recent Merck trial you saw was no efficacy at all. This field, even though with a remarkable understanding of the virus and a remarkable ability in the pharmaceutical sector to be able to produce various parts of this virus and produce in various ways, envelopes and recombinant delivery systems, we have not only not made much progress, but at least in the most recent sense, seem to have caused more disease than without the vaccine. So there's a lot of work that remains to be done. That is the end of mine, and then I want to talk about Irvin Chen, who could not come here down at UCLA, but taking a very interesting approach to using gene therapy and are genetically actually modifying the cell. This is the white cell, and this is HIV, and this is the receptor that you're all very familiar with. That's been involved in all the vaccines and such. That his approach is to. Did I do that now? Isn't that cute? But he can actually. What he's doing is he has a restricted gene that he's putting in to actually block this receptor, CCR5, a gene therapy approach, and be able to prevent the docking of HIV onto the cell surface. Very, very interesting idea. Should it actually prove successful, will be very, very useful. So with that, I will end.